Okay. Give me a moment because I want to make sure everything's working properly.
Fair.
Because the stream is sometimes weird, and we started it at exactly the time that it would get weird, so I just want to see if this works first. Yay, okay, cool, it's working. And we're audible, we make sounds.
There's just no chat on screen, but that's
there's no chat on my end of things. There's chat on YouTube, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. As long as you guys can communicate with each other, then we're good. But anyway.
But see, here's the thing, is on the right side of the... See, that's what I was worried about, is in the... See that on
the actual screen?
Yeah. It's like, why? Chat box, my guy, you good? Is there a way for me to, like, refresh it? That's what I'm wondering.
Either way, howdy everybody. How was your week?
There we go.
Let us know in the comment section in the chat. But yeah, we are anxiously awaiting to see the results of what happens after this hour.
Yeah.
When the birds play the sea mammals.
The sea mammals?
Yes. Also known as
it's the dolphins. Oh, I'm scared. Aiden, I'm scared.
Why are you scared?
I'm scared because last week we lost to the Jets.
Yeah, but how many times have we lost to the Jets prior to last week?
None.
I guess there really is a first time for everything.
Yeah, thanks, Brian Johnson. I hope you are run out of Philadelphia with pitchforks and torches. Which is how I felt about Chip Kelly as well. I think Chip Kelly got out too easy. But anyway, this is the Lore Lodge, not the Bird Lodge. So we're going to be talking today about marketing, and by that I mean the Blair Witch Project.
And by that we mean our professions prior to and during this YouTube channel.
Yeah, that was... I didn't think about that. Anyway, I don't know about you. Had you seen the Blair Witch Project prior to doing research for this?
No.
Okay, I had heard about it. It had come up in just stories. It had been referenced in things. You see people. It's in movies. I think even How I Met Your Mother, there's a reference where when Ted buys a house, Barney says, "Did the Blair Witch haggle over the closing costs?" Like it is a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And yet, when I went to watch this movie for the first time in my life, last week, I found it rather unremarkable.
Yeah, I think partially because it was very much a product of its time, beyond even just the marketing. You know, obviously the found footage element, specifically, there were other found footage movies before then, there were others after it. But the marketing helped create a frenzy. But that point in time where the internet was starting to get big, all these things, that just happened to be the one that blew up. And I think that's a big part of why it was such a...
Oh, yeah, it was entirely the marketing. That has become very clear to me from the comments section on our video, too.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are, I was in my early teens, I was in my early 20s when it came out, I was in my 30s, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's also really cool that we have people who watch our show who were in their 30s when Blair Witch came out.
That is fun.
Because that means that we are appealing to people, of a very wide age range, which is just super cool. When you pop into this chat, you're probably hanging out with people who are 20 years older and 20 years younger than you. Well, maybe. Depending on how young you are. Guess if you're under 20, you're probably not with anybody 20 years younger than you. Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah, I mean, Interstellar did make me ask questions about the process of time. But in this case...
It do be slowing.
I'm just... So, for me, and I'm curious what you thought filmmaking-wise, but for me, as kind of the folklore history side of things, I watched this, and the glaring issue in my head was... Whatever this monster is, it does not feel well thought out. The legend feels kind of lackluster. It doesn't seem like this witch, whatever it is, like the word witch really makes sense here, It doesn't work. Oh, thank you.
I think that's a byproduct of the level of improv they were doing.
Oh, yeah. Let me get there.
Okay.
Let me get there. So, I'm watching it and I'm thinking, man, this is really not altogether that interesting from a lore standpoint. I'm not super invested in what's going on in this universe. And, as the film side, was there anything watching it that you were like, that was a really cool, innovative technique? That was something that had never been done before. That was really engaging. This was a really cool shot.
Well, no, of course not, because that wasn't the goal of the film. The goal of the film was to make it seem like somebody who was attempting to be a filmmaker was 24/7 recording events happening in the woods, so they weren't... Oh, was it really hot?
Oh, I scalded my tongue.
Oh, you...
It's all good.
You know, I mean, obviously the goal and the technique utilized to achieve that goal did not lend itself to having artistic and well thought out shots.
Right, and of course, for those who don't know, the Blair Witch Project, and I will briefly go over the plot before we get into any of the film technique stuff, anything along those lines, because I don't want you guys to, if you haven't seen the movie, be like, oh, I have no idea what's going on here. The entirety of the script was improv. All they got was, hey, here's what happens in this scene. Go.
And to add on to that, it wasn't like it was a director speaking and giving notes in between each scene. It was at the beginning of the day, they'd find milk crates in the woods with film canisters with their names on it, with direction there, and then they would just have to go the rest of the day off of that.
Yep. So, movie, if you were to put this movie up for an Oscar, there's not a single category it could win. Like, there is not a single Oscar category that this movie could work for. It was not directed.
Nope.
It was not... The cinematography is garbage. Well, obviously,
there
because the actors didn't know how to use the cameras until right before the movie.
Yeah,
they taught them. They had like, what, a 2-week crash course, I think?
I think that was generous, yeah.
Yeah, so they had a 2-week crash course on how to use these cameras. They were not directors. They were walking through the woods, recording everything. The few fixed shots you get are pretty, it feels like it doesn't even feel like a college film project. It feels like a college folklore course where you're doing a term project. Yeah, this feels like your final research project for the end of the year.
Well, it was interesting to me that they decided to make them filmmakers who were like college filmmakers that were doing a documentary because...
Instead of college students who were making a film for a project.
Yeah.
But that also might just be a product of the times because, the idea of you and I doing a film for school...
Yeah.
Well, we have our phones in our pockets. Even 10 years ago, you could easily go pick up a pretty high-quality camcorder for $100.
Yeah, but
back then...
Well, that's the thing.
Were people really making, films for class?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and on film, too.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Especially if you were going to school for filmmaking. Like, one of the cameras they used was a 16mm, like a Super 16 camera.
Gotcha.
And that was pretty generic for film schools. But the thing is like...
That's what I mean, not film schools. I mean, for somebody who was in my program to get assigned a project like that in undergrad.
Oh, yeah, that's what would make it more believable. But they were noted as being filmmakers.
Yeah.
And so that's my...
Yeah, what I was trying to say more was like, would you have gotten that project in college 20 years ago in my program?
Oh, no.
That was more what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we were on the same page.
Yeah, 100%. But that's
also,
why...
we got two $20 super chats, which means we interrupt the conversation to answer them.
Richard Henderson for 1999 said, some of the best low-budget movies have spawned from great series like the Evil Dead series or the Saw series. That
actually is a good one to lead us into where I was going, so let's take Kellen's.
Kellen for $20 says, you shut your blank mouth, good sir. The film scares the hell out of me to this day, but I did see it in theaters, and you had to be there at the time with websites and books and the hype. It sticks with you. I haven't seen the 2016 version.
So Kellen, you're ahead of where I am. You're ahead of where we are in the progress of this show, but we're getting there. Because by no means do I mean to say that this is a bad project.
No.
This is not something that, the Blair Witch Project is a really cool piece of art. It is not a good horror movie.
Fair.
But it's a really good marketing ploy.
Oh, yeah.
It was, the artistry here, the film is fine. Considering what it was, and I think this is part of the problem, is people go into it and they have this, oh, it's so cool, they did all this stuff from the people who were there at the time, who experienced all of the marketing.
Yep.
Then they go and they watch it and they're like, yeah. Now, for an indie movie made with $65,000, it's a cool concept. It was never trying to be a blockbuster film. It was basically a film project for 2 college students.
Yeah.
That is what it was.
Yeah.
So, when you look at what it is, and, you know, what it was trying to be, that's what I should say. If you look at what it was trying to be versus what it became, it was a great project.
Oh, yeah, no, it far exceeded expectations.
But as far as, like, like I said, there's not a single Oscar category this movie could win.
Yeah.
But at Sundance, it could win a lot. And it did. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it got picked up.
I believe so.
If I remember correctly. So this is a movie that if you watch it today with having experienced none of the marketing of the time, you might go, well, why the hell did anybody care? How did this make $250 million at the box office?
Yeah.
And it comes down to the marketing. It comes down to the way that they prepared the American population to receive the Blair Witch Project. Because this movie, this project, is not just they went into the woods and they made a quick movie. It was a, almost year-long process of, like, mockumentaries, websites. I think there was a book, like, all these different things to convince people that, oh, well, the only reason you've never heard of this before is because you're not from Burkittsville, Maryland.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you'd know.
Yeah.
And it worked. So, to just quickly go over what the movie is, if you don't know, if you've never seen Blair Witch Project and you don't know the plot, it is 3 student filmmakers, Heather Donahue being the main one. I don't totally understand what Josh Leonard's role was supposed to be. Like, if he was another student in her program or just a friend of hers at the same school. Anyway, Mike, to my understanding, is like a friend of Josh's that gets hired to help. So they're going to make a film about the legend of the Blair Witch. And the plan is not to catch the Blair Witch in action or prove that it's there. It's just to say, you know, hey, this local legend, you know, they won't talk about it, but it's pretty interesting, isn't it? And let me show you all of the spots that are involved. So the whole plan is, you know, well, they're going to go out and they're going to check out the site of Rustin Parr's house. They're going to check out Coffin Rock. They're going to check out just general areas throughout the woods that are relevant. And as they go through, as they interview townsfolk, you know, it's typical small town stuff. Oh, well, there was a legend about the guy who lived up on the mountain and he killed 7 kids. And, oh, well, there were 2 hunters and they went missing from the forest. In fact, it sounds like a lot of missing 411 cases. It sounds like a little hot spot for them.
Fair.
Point is, nothing weird happens. There's all this, oh, weird stuff's gonna happen to you guys, almost like the beginning of Friday the 13th, where, you know, Ralph is like, horrible things happened there. It's like that, except in this version of events, you know, horrible things happen to them.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's what happens in Friday the 13th, too. I was going somewhere with that thought, and it just escaped me, and I could not recover it.
It happens.
I did not take my ADD meds today. That's, yeah.
I didn't even know you had it.
I just started.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's going well. It's going well.
We love it.
Yeah. It's, the brand sounds fake. It's Focalin.
Interesting.
That sounds like what you'd write into a sitcom.
A little bit, yeah.
For somebody who's taking Adderall, but you can't say that. But anyway, in the film, you don't see anything happen. The horror is all off camera. There's snapping of twigs, there's banging of things, there's children giggling, there's hooting, there's cackling, there's a few weird animalistic sounds, like, and then Karens start to pop up, stick figures hanging from trees. They run through the forest. You find out only by reading about it that they see a pale figure chasing them.
Can you just, for the audience, can you clarify what a Karen is so they don't think it's a woman showing up?
Oh, yeah, a Karen, a pile of rocks that is meant to symbolize something. Sometimes this could be a trail marker, it could be a grave site, it could be where you got married. But the idea of a Karen is that you take some rocks and you make a memorial. It's usually simple, very minor in terms of how it affects the environment. It's what, I mean, people have been doing it for millennia.
Yeah.
It's just a way that people have handled memorializing something. before you had the ability to build an actual monument.
Yeah, it is not a short-haired blonde woman asking for a manager.
No, it is not. But point is, as the film goes on, Josh gets lost and they hear him screaming. You know. And then at the end of the movie, they go into a house and both get bonked off camera.
They get got.
Yeah, and the camera just drops. So it's hard to tell. You know, you don't see any monsters. The fear is all in the belief, essentially, that they have cultivated in you. They are trying to get you to suspend your disbelief completely so that it doesn't occur to you throughout the movie, oh, right, this is just a movie. They want you thinking, oh, right, found footage, documentary, this really happened, until you get out of the theater and you're like, right, movie theater. You know? And because of the marketing, they were able to do that. Because, again, you sit here and you look at it, you're watching it on Amazon Prime from your own couch, and you're like, oh, well, my friends and I could have done this in a weekend. Like, not a big deal.
Yeah.
So can you read Henderson's question again?
I can indeed. Henderson's question?
Yes.
For some of the best low-budget movies have spawned from great series like The Evil Dead or the Saw series.
So I think that right there, the low-budget thing, and what comes out of it is important. Because, yes, Evil Dead started low-budget and then went high-budget. And it worked. Saw started low-budget and then went high-budget, and it worked. Even Friday the 13th kind of did that.
Yeah.
Halloween has done that. Like, you've had some successful follow-up horror films and franchises grow out of things. Why, then, looking at Blair Witch, is the Blair Witch Project the most successful one of them all? Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, is a garbage dumpster fire, like, should not see the light of day.
I haven't seen it.
It's horrible. Watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bad. And then, of course, Blair Witch was, I mean, I'll go into why Blair Witch was garbage, in my opinion. That'll be the final segment of the show.
Fair enough.
But what it really was, and what has become very clear as I've read through a lot of comments, and that I'm seeing a discernible gap between people who were of the age to go to the movies and remember it in 1999, which, of course, remember, this is a horror movie, so we're talking, at the very youngest, you're probably looking at 10 and 11-year-olds that were going to the movie.
Was it rated PG-13 or
It was rated R, I think.
Then you're probably not going to have many people that young.
Well, sneaking in. It was the 90s.
Yeah, fair.
My point is, you probably did not have a ton of super young people. Kids our age weren't going to the movie.
Really.
You probably weren't taking your 5-year-old to go see a horror movie. Hopefully.
I would hope not, yeah.
So I think a lot of the people who are our age, their first experience with this was probably, mid-2000s at the earliest. For me, it was 2023.
Yep.
I don't get it. Aiden, do you want to explain? Because you did a lot more research on the process here.
Yeah.
Why this movie made money?
2 reasons. One, obviously the marketing. Probably the biggest factor is the fact that so many people thought it was real. They didn't think it was a fictional piece of media. They thought it was real. That's the biggest part.
Yep.
That's what got people in the door. Second is because due to the fact that it was so low budget, found footage in that style in particular, you didn't need a big budget.
No. I'm surprised they spent $60,000 on it. Honestly,
that was probably mostly for paying for the wages of the actors and paying for, like, food and board for that stuff. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that involved marketing costs.
Probably.
But honestly, at the end of the day, really, the reason that the others failed is, A, because of the marketing, and 2, when you have a found footage film, especially when you're doing it, like, you can, when you're watching the film and you're reading how they went about creating it,
right,
all of their tactics were blatantly to avoid having to spend more money on it.
Yeah.
The reason that the only interaction with the being before the end of it was during, like, at night in the tent, they don't see it, it's just noises or whatever, is because they didn't want to have to afford trying to show something.
Right.
Very similar to why you don't see it at the end of the film, because you don't have to construct or make makeup or anything for some kind of creature.
There was one moment where they were supposed to show something and they just didn't get it on camera.
That's actually hilarious.
It's so in Blair Witch, in the sequel, there's a tall, pale figure with creepy angles to its arms and stuff that chases them through the house and kind of like peeks around at them through the woods the whole time. It was supposed to be in the original. They just didn't catch it, and because of the way that the whole thing was being done, it didn't matter because the actors didn't know what they were supposed to capture.
Yeah.
So the director couldn't come back and be like, "Oh, you guys missed this, so you know, we should probably do this instead." Like, but turns out the pale figure was supposed to be in the first one.
That's funny.
And what it was one of the movie's producers wearing a white bodysuit with long johns over his head, running around through the woods like this.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's what I wanted to focus on here. You know, obviously the low budget thing, whatever, that was a big part of how easy it was to make. But what I wanted to hone in on here was the marketing, because what you mentioned is exactly right. It's people thought this was real.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because of, I mean, we can go down the list.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. So we can go down the list, which was they had. I mean, the biggest one was that they had a fake documentary shot, edited, and premiered and reran on Sci-Fi
before the movie
came out. They were handing out missing persons flyers of the actors, the characters, saying that they had been missing since 1994, right? They had ads in local newspapers about them missing. They had plants on chat rooms talking about the missing persons case, telling people this was real, all this stuff. Right after the film came out, that following weekend, they had a fake website up for the project that showed it as a research project, not for the film. And something that drew people in even after the movie premiered was that following Monday. It premiered on Friday. That following Monday, there was a full-page ad in Variety magazine promoting the website.
Yeah.
A research website, not the film. And so, I mean, that doubly makes sense in the sense of people probably didn't watch the ones afterward because they felt scorned by the fact that they were essentially lied to.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that $65,000 went towards hiring lawyers to make sure none of this was illegal.
Probably not a ton.
As false advertisement.
Probably not a ton.
I cannot imagine a lawyer was not on hand during this entire process.
I'm sure they had someone go through.
Like, just because I'm not saying they got sued. I'm just saying I would be shocked if there was not a lawyer on retainer with the marketing guys. They probably did. I mean, I'm sure it probably got dismissed, but you know, it's looking at the thing. They did everything. They towed the line when it came to false advertising. Because they never say it's real. They never say this is real. But they give you every single little piece of evidence you could possibly need to think it's real.
Yeah.
Except they stop short of calling it a true story. Which is fascinating to me, considering it's based on an actual Legend of a Witch trial. Also, we have a $20 or £20 super chat from Cameron Hughes.
Ooh, we love that.
Says, after watching the Blair Witch Project video, I think the Gaelic pagan worship is an interesting theory. I'm Manx and we share the Gaelic myths. Fairies or the little people have been known to snatch children. It's a theme that keeps recurring.
Interesting.
Precisely. Yeah, I knew I had to say something in the video a little bit out of pocket. I couldn't just be like, probably a demon or something. I'd be like, nah. It's the fairies.
We did a fairy video.
We have a few. We did one on Banshees that nobody liked. And that one
apparently people hate Ireland.
I think it was a combination of it just was not the topic people were expecting from our channel at the time. And also, some people did not like the backing track, which is something we decided to try out.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if we re-uploaded the video
without it.
Without the backing track. You know, or
Yeah,
maybe we
but
just
you're right.
reshot
Yeah.
the same video, but with a different theme. Maybe make it about like the actual history aspect instead.
That makes sense.
It's not like most of you will be rewatching it. I think it just hit 100K.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's I think that the Celtic myths are not utilized quite enough outside of Irish stories. You know, you see them when they do pop up in American media. A lot of the time, it's more about like witchcraft, and their version of witchcraft is usually based on Wicca.
Yeah, that makes
which
sense.
isn't. It's not quite right. Like
I was intrigued when
you can't name Celtic witchcraft after the English word for magic.
I also was interested by the fact that in the video that we just put up, you mentioned that Wicca is new. Was not aware of that.
Oh yeah, Wicca was, I think, unveiled to the public in 1954.
Do we know where that originated in particular?
England. There's a guy named George Gardner.
What was the goal? Just an alternative to...
It depends on who you ask. The more polite opinion is that Gardner was attempting to actually present an old witch cult that he firmly believed to exist. Historians do not agree with him at all.
Okay.
But yeah, basically his suggestion was that the old pagan ways, the old pre-Christian Indo-European pagan ways, those came from or those have survived to the modern day through secret practices and small covens scattered across England and Ireland, so on and so forth. And then he was bringing it back to the forefront to say, let's reclaim our European, religion. Let's reclaim our ancient heritage, get more in touch with the earth. Christianity, it's all about the church. It's all about power. We're going to make it more about the real gods of the earth and the land around us. That is the charitable, pro-Wicca view here. The anti, like the way people who dislike Gardner look at it, and dislike Gardner specifically, and they will back this up, and there is an argument for it, was that the entire point was to create a cult centered around, basically making women more promiscuous. Yeah. You got to remember the time period, and that you got to remember the time period.
Okay, so it sounds like we should be doing
by taking them.
Wicca.
I refuse.
Why?
You don't want to do Scientology. I am not doing Wicca.
We'll talk later about that. I'm curious.
Mine's more for reasons of like us being screamed at on the internet than for us being killed. But yeah.
Well, one of those seems a little worse than the other, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. It's kind of like the John Mulaney bit with the midget. Do you remember that? Where he's like, you can't say midget on TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's like saying the N-word.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, no, it's not. Because you can say the word midget.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fair.
God. That comedy special came out a decade ago, Aiden.
Did it really?
Oh. So, yeah, I did see another 20 in there really quick.
Yeah, from Jake Everfree for 1999 says, so you're telling us that the Blair Witch Project pulled a ghost watch?
I don't think I know what ghost watch is.
I don't either, unfortunately. Horribly. It's horribly
yeah.
of me.
But to kind of wrap the discussion on where we were just now with Blair Witch.
Yes.
Marketing. This movie, which again, if you watch it for the first time now, you're not gonna get it. You've got to imagine that this was given similar coverage to Gabby Petito's disappearance.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, it was all over the place. Like everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
it's
God,
like
okay,
it was
okay.
like This was take this the same way. Imagine the way everybody reacted when Gabby Petito went missing. I only bring this one up because it's one we have extensively talked about.
Fair.
When Gabby Petito went missing, how did it start that people knew about it? It was TikTok.
Yep.
It was the internet. It was people saying this person's missing. How many people do you think saw that and immediately Googled to check to make sure that this was a real missing persons case?
Pretty much everybody who heard about it.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm saying, who do you think thought, that's probably not real?
Oh.
Probably not that many people. I'm sure there were some people.
Yeah, not a ton, but like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you probably had a significant chunk of people, probably the vast majority, who when they saw a video saying, this girl is missing in this park, went, oh, that's tragic. There's a girl missing in a park. I want to find out more. Let me go look that up.
Yeah.
Now imagine, today, it's pretty easy to tell that something's fake on the internet. Like, because you go into it with that assumption. Oh, this might be fake.
Yeah.
You know, and you go on it and you're and you know, you can dig around a little bit. And if you read through an article about something and there's not 70 other news websites also talking about it, you start to question it, you know? Now it's 1999. Somebody is out on the street holding a missing persons flyer, physically hands it to you and says, my friends are missing, can you help? And they say, if you go to this website, it'll tell you all you need to know.
Yeah.
You take that flyer, you go home, and like you said, you know, or like it was in your notes, I didn't hear, you know, the exact stuff you said, but it was in your notes, like, you know, somebody hands you a flyer, you get back, you crumple it up, you throw it at your friend's head, you know, he goes to look at it. Now, in 1999, what was Google?
It had, like, just
brand
started,
new.
Right? Yeah.
As I learned from the comments section, you could not even open multiple tabs.
Yeah.
You had to open a new window for everything. And there's not BuzzFeed, Vox, Daily Wire, you know, all these different like third-party news websites. There's no, there might have been TMZ actually, I don't know, but you know, there were not nearly as many websites for you to go and check things.
No.
I don't think Wikipedia was around yet.
No.
If it was in its infancy.
Yeah.
So you could, you know, go there, and you know, say maybe you do think to check, probably what, MSN maybe.
Maybe. Probably like AOL News.
Yeah, you go to check that. Well, you know, it does seem like it's a pretty local story. Like this is just a small town thing. Like, maybe it's just not on, you know, on the front page news.
Yeah.
So you sit there and you have the flyer that was given to you, and all the evidence suggests to you this is a legitimate small town missing persons case. Because how else are you going to decide that it's not?
There's no reason for you to believe otherwise.
Mm-hmm. And, like, YouTube's not a thing yet. People aren't doing these kinds of big, elaborate pranks.
Yeah. Also,
these
just, like,
social experiments.
Also, just, like, the logic of, like, in your mind at the time, why would someone actively be handing out missing persons, like, flyers and be lying about it? Like,
yeah,
it like,
doesn't
logically,
make any sense.
especially if you don't know, you're not aware of the movie yet, it's like, there's no reason this person would be doing this and deceiving me for this weird of a reason. What's their motivation?
Yep. So it's just, like, it's a completely different world.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, I would love to see somebody who actually, you know, studies this stuff at a higher level, like a PhD research level.
Yeah.
Look into, you know, how something like the Blair Witch Project, if you tried it today, I think that would be a cool, like, PhD dissertation for a psychologist.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or a sociologist, I guess, more so. You know, if you tried to do the Blair Witch Project today, you know, if you could get a similar, you know, maybe, I guess now it'll probably be a $100,000 budget, but if you get a $100,000 budget, could you, today, with things the way they are, replicate what Blair Witch did? And I don't think you could.
I think it's possible. It'd be tough.
It would be so much more expensive.
Yeah, it would be.
Because you would have to somehow plant that on so many websites.
Yeah.
You would have to convince so many people it's real. And there would be so many TikTok sleuths trying to prove you wrong,
Yeah.
even if you're right.
you'd essentially have to turn all of your actors into spec ops people.
Yeah.
And like generate entirely fake like web histories.
It would probably take several years.
Yeah.
Of having the actors act.
Yeah. Oh,
it would probably take forever to do it. Or, I would also be interested to see, is there a shortcut way of doing this, having the same impact while not necessarily doing the same kind of thing? Could you make a film like Blair Witch Project that people genuinely believe is real? Could you get it into theaters? And could you have people still think it's real? I think partially because of Blair Witch Project, no.
Yeah.
But, I think it would be a cool thing to have somebody start with that concept of, well, can you redo the Blair Witch? You know who could do it? Who should do it? Who could absolutely pull this off?
Oh.
And it would be a drop in the bucket and make him millions of dollars? Mr. Beast.
Oh, yeah, easily.
The Mr. Beast Project. See? Listen. Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy
Donaldson, yeah.
If you're listening, we have an idea for you.
What could go wrong?
And we only want 1% of the proceeds, because they'll probably be more than our annual income.
Probably? Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know what he makes per video, or what 1% of like $5 million is.
1% of 5 million.
Yeah, what's that?
I believe that's 50,000.
Okay, we want 2%. What? Okay.
We did get a big super chat.
Yes, we did. I saw
Damage
that.
for Canadian $69. Nice. Says you should look into the Bell Island boom, or look if you looked into other events of the Sky Trumpets or other events that could relate to the mythical creatures such as the Thunderbird.
I definitely could. One thing I've thought about with Thunderbirds and some of these depictions of there being multiple suns in the sky and explosions and fireballs in the sky. Meteor showers.
That makes sense.
Like the Tunguska event, when you look at the fact that there was a Tunguska event.
Not familiar with that. What is it?
That's the one that, I think that's what it's called. The comet or meteor that exploded over Siberia. Left a pretty huge crater of, knocked trees down for, miles in every direction.
Wasn't that caught on, some dash cams or something?
Yeah, there was some dash cams, some, security camera apartment building stuff. Yeah. So, if you got, obviously everybody knew about that one because it happened in, 1900.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
That one was 1900?
Sorry, I'm thinking of a different one, the one you were thinking
I was going to say, there definitely were dash cams.
Yeah. I knew, in my brain, that didn't compute, but I was like, I do know I've seen dash cams of a meteor exploding over Russia.
Yeah.
These were two separate events.
Yeah. Isn't it weird that we just, we have all of this footage?
Yeah.
Just these crazy things that happen now. I think that's the best part of the proliferation of social media, is now all of these weird, unexplained events.
Yeah.
We now have explanations and raw footage of.
Yep. So, that's kind of... How many times do you think there has been something like that, and people just thousands of years ago had to be like, oh boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, oh, we're all dead.
Okay, thing in the sky, bird, explosion, thunder.
Yep.
How many times do you think that's happened throughout history? Look at all the Vedic stuff that the ancient aliens people talk about, where they're like, look at the things exploding in the sky, it must be aliens, and I'm like, or hear me out.
The thing that happens almost every day.
Comets or meteors that broke up in the atmosphere, and people went, that's weird.
Yep.
Wonder what that is.
Gotta find a reason for it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, what were we talking about? But yeah, right, he asked the question about Thunderbird. Yeah, could definitely do that. I mean, maybe that's... Yeah, if I can find... I gotta find, what the most well-known one would be.
Yeah. Probably
the Thunderbird. And then talk about kind of the broader stuff in relation to it. Thunderbird is a Mozilla Thunderbird. What? Email client manager. Interesting. Thunderbird is a Native American Native American folklore thing. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
And I am definitely, by the way, simplifying it and saying, oh, maybe somebody saw something blow up in the sky. There's more to the Thunderbird legend than that, but you're looking at the root.
Yeah.
Where might these things have come from? And I was talking more generally about some of these explosions in the sky and loud things.
Yes.
Haven't read up on
Thunderbird is a car, and it's
Thunderbird is a car. Yeah. All right, but it is 7:45, and the birds are on at 8, so this is going to be a slightly short show.
Yes.
But do you want to get through the rest of the super chats?
Absolutely. Pony Trail Girl 99 for $4.99 says Ohio should be removed.
It will be.
Leave it to us. We'll
Yes.
find a way. Mr. Rose gave us
It
two.
will be the world's largest salmon farm.
Again, easier ways.
But it's not about... We do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
I love how we went completely different directions, because I thought as soon as you went, I thought you were going to be like, it's not about money. It's about sending a message.
Oh yeah, that one would have worked too. It's not about winning, it's about being toxic. one of my favorite Warzone rules with my squad.
Amazing.
If you have no chance of winning, it's not about winning.
It's about being toxic.
Precisely.
Love it. Mr. Rose gave us two $5 super chats, and the first one says,
Thank you.
First super chat for what are your favorite dinos? Mine is Dilophosaurus, and something to one over Windigoon is that I find him through y'all. That's fun.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
What is your favorite dino?
Ooh, it was the Allosaurus.
Nice.
Yes. The I'm not gonna say it was like the Jurassic predecessor to the T-Rex, but it was like one of the apex predators of the Jurassic period. It was slightly smaller than the T-Rex and had longer arms, more of a hunter than a scavenger. It had a very high top speed for its size, but not one of the faster dinosaurs you would have run across. The one that I specifically knew about was one called Big Al, who was famous because he was found in Wyoming, which I often forget exists. And the thing was, he was special because he had a broken foot that clearly never healed properly, but he survived nonetheless. So there have been a lot of theories about, okay, what might the life of a dinosaur that, a hunter that broke its foot be like?
Yeah.
So anyway, I haven't watched the movie Big Al since I was like 5.
Love that.
Stuck with me, as you can tell.
I
think I probably watched it like 80 times. It was that and I Dig Dirt.
I Dig Dirt was a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
Coal mining propaganda for sure, but such good.
As a Pennsylvanian, I appreciate some coal propaganda.
Absolutely. Also, by the way, we always like to make fun of my special interest of trains and large vehicles, and I think we found Madison.
I'm not still interested in dinosaurs 20 years later.
There would be nothing wrong with it if you were.
I know, but let's draw fair comparisons here.
You are interested in history, though.
That's true, yeah. I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was like 3. I could spell that word.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm not sure I still could.
You definitely could. The amount of obscure words you read and write on a daily basis, I guarantee you could spell it.
I will say, if people start consistently criticizing me for my pronunciations of things from other languages, I will just start pronouncing them all like I'm from Rhode Island.
How would that sound?
Wendigo. Let's see, what else is there? What's another good, La Llorona. Yep. Trying to think of anything. Sasquatch.
Sasquatch?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Chupacabra.
Chupacabra, yeah.
How
would you say...
A Babhan Seath.
I don't even know what that was originally supposed to be.
Bavanshi.
Babhan Seath. Found one of them in the yard.
Yeah. It's new challenge. Find people from Boston. Ask them if they're Irish. Give them a list of Gaelic words to read.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Irish words to read.
Botchel. Botchel?
Show them the Irish word for connet.
Connet?
Yeah.
What is that?
The northwestern province of Ireland.
Oh, right. Yeah, just ask them to name counties.
Spell County Meath.
It's County Mayo, right?
Oh my
Dongle.
god. Dongle? Is it actually Dongle?
Well, there's Dingle and then there's Donegal.
Oh, right. It's pronounced Donegal?
Donegal, yeah.
I thought it was Donegal.
Depends on...
I haven't been there.
Honestly,
I would trust you having been there. I'm just surprised.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, right. It's Dingle the Donegal dolphin, right?
No.
Isn't there a dolphin in Dingle?
There is. He's not named Donegal.
What's the dolphin's name?
I can't remember, but it's...
Sean, where are you when I need you?
Yeah,
He
seriously.
remembers the dolphin's name.
Next would be Phantom Maniacs for $5 saying, would you guys ever consider doing an Evil Dead video? Also, my dad is a Zach Wilson fan because he played at BYU. You boys have my sympathy.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Yeah, Evil Dead can definitely go on the list. We're probably just gonna make a list of horror movies to go through and do the way we did these two. Next week you're not getting another horror movie. You're getting a missing 411 case.
Is it Flipper? Is his name Flipper?
Flipper the Dingle Dolphin?
I guess.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, there was a dolphin named Flipper for the movie Flipper that came out in the 90s.
Cove. Yeah. The fact that BH can be
Yeah.
right? Like can be a V is just so frustrating to me.
I'm going to Cobb.
Cobb. Any of the names from the Brian Baru video.
Oh my god.
Who is this male Morta?
Amazing. Follow-up from Phantom Maniacs for $5 says, there's a theory that it was all set up to kill Heather. Film theory made that a theory.
I did see that was a thing. I love it as a fan theory. It is clearly not what the filmmakers intended.
Fair.
Granted, I also was like, this is... I basically was like, the filmmakers were wrong
About
what the monster was.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah,
I think it's quite clear from the sequel that is not what happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know if film theory included the sequel or if he was just going off of the original. But in my opinion, no, the boys were not. We're not just trying to kill Heather.
Yeah. No.
Considering Heather was the one that got them lost.
Fair. Well, she got him turned around at first, and then Mike decided to kick the map in the river, which was the stupidest move anybody could ever have made.
However, east. Just go east. Why did they start by trying to go south?
I don't know.
In the movie, she's like, well, let's go south. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, why?
Well, why go east instead of south? I don't remember the geography.
It's like central Maryland.
Yeah.
If you go south from the center of Maryland,
yeah,
you will continue going south until the Gulf of Mexico.
Valid.
I think. Or at the very least, the eastern coast of Florida.
So you're thinking not getting back to town, you're thinking just like getting somewhere.
I'm thinking getting to somewhere that orients you, because if you go to a river or a beach, you will find people, eventually.
Fair.
So the thing is, if you go south, you're from where they are, you're going into the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
If you go east from where they are,
you're
going towards Frederick, Maryland.
Yeah.
So
that'll help.
Like,
it's better than
it's also very easy to orient yourself to east. Which way did the sun come up that morning?
That's a good point. Get moving early in the day.
Yeah.
Killing the official data for 308. Nice. Y'all need to do a deep dive on Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, we certainly can.
Be interesting. Would that be a weird Bible deep dive?
I want to leave any sectarian squabbles out of Weird Bible.
Fair.
Yeah.
I want to keep it as open as possible.
Yeah, that would probably go in here, and it would probably be... I'll have to look into it and see if I feel that it's a cult or a religion.
That could be a good premise of the video.
True.
Jehovah's Witnesses, cult or religion?
Yeah.
We'll find out. Well, he'll find out.
I don't think there's enough Jehovah's Witnesses to get us canceled for that. Right?
I mean... I don't know.
Brian Laundrie's mom was a Jehovah's Witness.
I don't know.
Is a Jehovah's Witness.
I don't know.
And a bad person.
What counts? If you're just doing research and you're essentially providing a verbal form of a research paper, and you're just providing facts and very little, if any, conjecture, how do you get canceled for that?
Welcome to 2023, Hayden.
I hate this. Anyway, Ashton and Elliot gave us $5 and asked, would you ever consider doing a video on the Hitler survival conspiracy theory?
Only if I can find that one specific document from all of those declassifications back in 2019. 2019, right? Or was it 2017?
I think it was 2019.
I feel like it was 2019.
Yeah, it was like right when COVID was about to start, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I did just see somebody asked in the chat if we've ever covered Centralia. Yeah, actually, we have a video where we went to Centralia.
Yeah, we went there. There wasn't much
there.
Yeah, they had buried the road that was on fire.
Yeah, all the cool stuff has been gone for like 5 years now.
Yeah,
sadly.
Yeah. Cakes for $1.99 says, sent an email to the Lore Lodge, lots of video ideas.
Okay,
we'll check it out.
Take a look at it.
Ryan Whitcup for $5.19. Love it. Said, nothing to ask or add this week. Enjoy a little money and have a great week, boys. Gonna watch some baseball now.
Woo woo.
Have fun.
Who's your team?
Yeah, we want to know.
We need to know.
Give us the deets.
Obviously, it's not the Diamondbacks because they're not playing tonight, but
fair. Sweating over here.
Yeah. Better not be the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. Right. Deet for $9.99 says, what's your guys' thoughts on the Washington State ape caves? Is that just the
all right? Well, yeah. Now we got to write down Washington State ape caves.
Is that just the Saskats? Is that the home of the Saskats?
Very much could be.
If you watch our Sierra Camp tape video, that might give you some information.
The Washington State what?
Ape caves.
Ape caves.
They take apes in the mountains.
I know.
Ian Sharps for £5 says, do you ever watch those trail cam compilations claiming to show Bigfoot and other cryptids? Oh, yes, he does.
Actually, I do that on my personal channel.
Yes.
On probably going to be doing that consistently on Tuesdays now, but also might be Thursdays. I don't know yet, but yes. At least once a week over on my personal channel, which is just at the Aiden Mattis. We do, we analyze videos that purport to show Bigfoot, ghosts, aliens, all sorts of stuff like that. Talk about the lore behind it, why does this not fit? Is this video clearly fake? Are the noise levels different? Everything from, this is fake for these technical reasons to this is fake because that's wrong.
Yeah. Someone put in the chat, just the regular chat, saying, the many crimes of Meltwater Pulse 1B, question mark? Which I'd love to see that video.
Oh my god.
Just over here.
Yeah, what is
the many crimes
of Meltwater Pulse 1B?
I would love to see that. Lateral Damage for Canadian $15 says, you ever thought about starting a gaming channel? What are your favorite games other than Warzone? For Aiden as well, of course, and keep up the great work because you are both great.
It's funny you ask that because it's on my personal channel. Right now, we have been doing a lot of Warzone. We are about to start. So we did play it a little bit last Friday. This Friday, we're going to be playing through the entirety of the Haunting event in the DMC game mode.
Fun.
So what's cool about that is it's got a pharaoh, it's got UFOs, it's got a swamp monster thing. Like there's a bunch of different monsters that you can fight all across the map. It takes place at night, so it's gonna be me, PJ, and probably our buddy Connor.
Nice.
Sitting through and just doing that Friday night, having some drinks and trying to get all the monsters in as few matches as possible. Which could go really easily. We could have everything go smoothly, and everything works fine. Or we could get killed our first run through and have to do it all with ground loot guns. So
fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Those streams, I think they're a lot of fun. And I've played on my Twitch channel. I used to do, and I stopped doing Twitch and switched to YouTube because Twitch wouldn't give me partner, and YouTube was about to get monetized after like a month. So point in saying that is I did Green Hell, I do Phasmophobia, Demonologist, we've been doing Civ 5 on Friday nights recently, a whole bunch of different games and stuff going on. So we've been having a good time over there. Come hang out. Aiden's going to play some with me.
Yeah.
And as for favorite games, one of my all-time favorites would obviously be Skyrim, but my more niche favorite I think the one that I've put the most hours into, actually this is a toss-up. My two favorite games of all time, I would have to say, are Mountain Blade Warband. Sorry, three. I have three. Mountain Blade Warband. Partially because it's so moddable. Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2005. The
original.
Old school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And third would have to be... I had it. What was it? What was I going to say? Mountain Blade, Battlefront... Oh, and Medieval 2 Total War.
Oh, fun.
And the Warband and Medieval are partially because the modding community for those games has just been incredible. They still have mods being made.
Oh, wow.
Almost 20 years later. So, yeah. Those were my top three. And Skyrim, I think, is in a league of its own. It's just, I think Skyrim's one of the best games ever made.
It is a great game. Yeah, I think if you were asking for both of us, then, yeah, my favorites would be... My favorite story-driven game of all time is Batman Arkham City.
I knew
Easy. I've actually got my girlfriend playing through that for the first time right now. It's very fun. If we're talking just for fun games, World of Tanks has been a staple for me for ages. My friends play it, and, we'll hop on and play every now and again just to kind of catch up if we're not seeing each other in person. And, we'll run Battlefield 4 sometimes, occasionally.
I love Battlefield 4.
Yeah, I don't get a ton of time to play games as much as I'd like to.
Apparently 2042 is good now, and I've been needing people to play with, so if you want to play Battlefield 2042 with me, I'm all down.
Yeah.
And that's actually something we could probably do with a significant portion of the server.
Yeah,
the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, by the way, bit.ly/join-the-lodge. That is the best place you can possibly get updates for the channel. But that would be something we could do, and I could easily stream that.
Yeah, true.
Would be like a Battlefield 4 or a Battlefield 2042 private lobby, Warzone private lobbies. I can't believe we've never done a Warzone private lobby.
That's shocking, actually.
Yeah, we gotta do that.
We should.
And it should be like, maybe like quads, and it could be like Yumi, Tommy, and John versus all comers.
Oh, I'm so in on that.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
That'd be great.
All right, cool.
Cameron Hughes for $5 says, speaking of Manx myths and hoaxes, there are two that you might find interesting.
All right.
Quotes. Geth the Mongoose? I'm
Jeff the Mongoose, that one's been brought up before.
And the Killy
Did you pronounce Jeff spelled with a G as Geth?
I did, yeah.
We need to have a conversation.
There was no O. He put G-E-F.
Okay, fair.
Jeff the Mongoose and the Killy family murder.
Killy family murder? Yeah. I can look into those, yeah.
That'd be interesting. Moving on, Ryan Weatherall for $10 says, I think the closest you could get to a modern Blair Witch would be an ARG that's really well made. Oh, you mean like the Cloverfield one?
I would agree. Yeah, I didn't know Cloverfield had an ARG.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was all just the movies.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
They have an in-depth ARG.
Mm-hmm.
J.J. Abrams has stuff that is tied in the ARG in other things he's done.
Yeah.
Like, Kat and I are rewatching Alias, the show he did, like, early in his career, before he did Cloverfield, before he did really anything.
Right.
And in that, he has fake companies planted, like, that he made for his universes.
Right.
That are designed around the ARG.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. He ties it all in. It's actually really impressive.
That is impressive.
My mom...
Abrams?
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams can make good movies?
Yeah.
Well, after his Star Wars films, I wasn't sure.
He did a lot of great things before that.
Yeah.
My mom gave us $2 and says, "Go Birds, go Phils! Congratulations on 300K."
Thank you. And yeah, I forgot. This is our first stream since hitting 300.
Yeah.
You were right.
What?
At the beginning of the year, you said we would probably hit 300 this year, and I doubted you.
I'm good with projections.
I was just being pessimistic. I did
not know why.
Because I didn't want to make assumptions that things would go well.
Oh, but look how it turned out. It's exciting. We made it.
We did. All right.
No,
we have a game to watch.
Yeah, valid. William J. Boo Rat Blackshire, which is an
what a
name. Love that. For $5 says, have y'all seen the Nothing But Trouble? Still want to see if y'all do a video on the Soviet man-ape super soldiers with Roanoke Gaming / Tales.
Okay, so first of all, I can absolutely reach out to Roanoke Tales about doing a video on the Soviet man-ape super soldiers.
I think that would be a great idea.
you know, and I haven't seen Nothing But Trouble. Well, I'm gonna take a look at what that is really quick.
Yeah, Abrams did Force Awakens and whatever the third one was.
Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
Comedy horror. All right. A businessman and his friends are captured by a sadistic judge and his equally odd family in a bizarre mansion in the backwoods. It stars Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, Chevy Chase, Demi Moore. Okay, so
It's a heck of a
hell of a cast, yeah. It's also got Peter Aykroyd,
Daniel Baldwin.
the forgotten Baldwin.
Ponytail Girl 99 for $4.99 said give Archie a snacky.
I will when I pick him up from my parents.
Yeah, we do not currently have an Archie in the vicinity.
We currently have not Archie, but we do have Ella. I could give Ella a snacky.
We have a larger, slightly more colored coat.
Can you get her a snacky and bring it to me so I can give it to her? Thank you. That is all I need in this world. Is a snack to give Ella the husky.
All I want for Christmas is my tooth hurt teeth.
The funny stay strapped or get clapped. Man must return. What do I think about Bernie? I'm not answering this question because I can't do it politely.
Incredible.
All right, Ella, come here. Come here. No. Come here. Come here. Come here.
She's being good.
Come on. Stop being good for just a second.
Here, I'll get her.
You were being so good at not being good earlier today. Here, come here. Here we go. There's the husky.
She's so gentle.
She's so gentle about it. What a good girl.
Give her another one too if you
Okay, you want another one? You want another treat? Become dog cast.
And we've always kind of been dog.
Yeah, there we go. She is being very gentle about it. That's all of That's all I'm
She's
giving.
so good. She's so good. Ooh, you can't have any more, baby. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I think that was the last super chat, right?
It was.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out. As I just said, there is a personal channel where I stream 3 other nights of the week that is very close to being monetized. So I would appreciate if you guys checked it out. That has a lot of reaction style content, but not the, me sitting there going, yo, that's so cool, and, doing nothing else, but I will give you in-depth analysis about why something is wrong. We'll take a look at unsolved mysteries and missing persons cases, and we will try and, follow along and see if we can figure out what happened with solved ones, and with the unsolved ones, we try and, see, all right, well, based on the other cases we've studied, what could we guess about this?
Yeah.
So there's just been kind of that kind of thing rolling through. Go ahead and check that out. That is at the Aiden Mattis. And is there anything you think we've missed?
The other channels, I guess.
No, yeah. I mean, we have the History Hut, the Weird Bible, the Lore Lounge. Also, I am so proud of you. Did you see the comments?
No.
The people love you.
Oh.
They loved your presentation.
Thank you.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you want to support us, obviously you can buy our merch on the lorelodge.shop. You can buy our coffee from Tableau Roasting Company. You can super chat or become a member here, or you can subscribe to the Patreon. And
That's pretty much everything.
That's
Yeah.
it. It is also almost time of year for the cocktail stream. We got to design 3 new cocktails.
Ooh, this is
All right.
true.
We'll have Celso help us.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yes. All right. See you guys.